Traffic congestion. Hate sitting in traffic, support public transit. The fact is that over the last 50 years, and especially over the last 30 years, traffic congestion has progressively worsened in the United States. The cost of owning a car is still incredibly high for an individual and for a household, but it has gotten cheaper over time. This means that more people are relying on cars despite the growth of transit or the renewal of urban areas. We see here in this chart hours of delay per commuter. You see small delay, medium delay, large delay, very large. Each color represents a different year. So those suffering from very large traffic delays, we have seen increase from, in the year 1982, an average of 20 hours of delay per commuter, to 2005, nearly 60 hours. While that has leveled out some as more people have begun to shift and rely on public transit after the economic recession, we still see that people suffer from very large commutes of 50 hours of delay per commuter or more. We see even those who suffer from small delays, under 20 hours or under 10 hours, has increased from 1982, where we see less than 10 hours of delay, peaking in 2005 to nearly 30, and then leveling off again in 2011 to around 20 hours of delay. The fact is that if you drive a car to work, you are spending more time in traffic than you have in a decade, and more time than historically was possible. The good news is that public transit helps relieve traffic congestion. If more people used public transit to get to work and other daily destinations, traffic congestion would significantly decrease. This is not just a theory. 30,000 passengers can be carried on a single U.S. subway line in 1 hour. That's the equivalent of adding 10 additional highway lanes to what cars are already using. So if you're sitting in gridlock every morning on a beltway or on a major highway or interstate, wondering what they could do to fix it, they would have to add 10 additional highway lanes to address the issue that could be addressed if we added one subway line in an hour. Public transit also increases access to jobs. So it's not only reducing the amount of time that you have to spend in traffic, but it may also provide an opportunity for you to work somewhere closer. A 2003 study found a 10% increase in commuting speeds raised the productivity of Los Angeles commuters between 2 and 3%. So if you're an employer, or if your employees have a long commute, trying to arrange ways for them to access public transit, going out of your way to educate them on public transit, is not only good for them. Just speeding up their commute by a small margin can increase productivity 2 to 3% in your office or workplace. Mass public transit not only saves commuters time, but it also gives employers increased access to broader markets and workers with more diverse skills. If you have your headquarters located in a suburb and the transit agency is only providing one line with hourly headways, chances are that you're only going to be able to hire and find employees who either can drive or can make that commute in a reasonable amount of time. It limits your ability to hire from the broadest spectrum of talent in an urban area. Relieving traffic congestion also increases economic output, not just in the productivity of individual workers. Congestion reduces the overall economic health of a community. Traffic delays make people late to work. It leads to a loss of business. A recent study suggests that economic growth slows when congestion reaches the threshold of between 35 and 37 hours of delay per commuter per year. Let's go back to that graph at the beginning. They're saying here 35 to 37 hours of delay per commuter per year begins to slow economic growth. And we are seeing, in many cases, almost double that, especially in 2005, but even recently up to 50 hours of delay. Mass transit, on the other hand, spurs economic activity. It brings consumers to shopping districts, sports venues, theater districts. For every $1 invested in public transportation, an average of $4 in economic returns are generated. In some places, this is significantly higher. As mentioned in previous trainings, in the Cleveland BRT Health Line, they saw for every $1 invested in that bus rapid transit system, almost $110 or $114 in economic returns were generated. Congestion also costs drivers money. So you'll see here in this report from the Urban Mobility Report from the Texas Transportation Institute in 2012, that congestion costs per drivers rose from less than $200 in 1982 peaked around 2006 and 2007 with more than $800 per driver and continue to level off, if not increase, in recent years. Reducing traffic congestion is not just better for workers or better for communities or better for the economy or better for employers. It's also good for the environment, which at the end of the day is the thing that keeps us all alive. After all, none of those other concerns are very relevant on a dead planet. Traffic congestion increases CO2 emissions, which pollutes the environment. Cars sitting and idling on highways or in traffic jams or in downtown areas are spewing out carbon dioxide. Even with fuel emission requirements changing, we're still seeing incredibly high levels of air pollution. Investing in public transit is one of the most sure ways of improving the environmental health in the United States, Canada, and the world. So in conclusion, traffic congestion is one of the key causes of environmental issues, of income inequality, of a lower quality of life, of a lack of access to jobs, of a limited talent pool to hire from. And public transit is one of the few investments that can begin to resolve all of these issues.